Good morning, it's the 2nd of May 2013. Just going to go through the reasons it took a long on EJ this morning. I did mention on the 8 o'clock Twitter that we were long and the EJ pairs were going long. So the EJ we had an ABCD formation, had price pulled back to the 127.2. And we had a buy limit order at 12,780. The stop below the 161.8 at 12,760, so it's a 20 pip stop on that. And our first target was 20 pips up to 800. She's hit that. That was the intraday sinker. So once that's hit, obviously the stop's managed. Our second target 2 to 1 is just above the 168 and 707, just below 177 at 12,820. And the 161 on this is at 878. Now that is above the 4-hour sinker, so a more realistic target for this would be 860, 870. Okay, which would give us 100 pips profit on this trade. Okay, so price is forming a wedge at the minute on the 4-hour. So here we have our riser, the price bounced off this morning, and we have our sinker, which we should see price pop up to and probably break, because we have a longer term 4-hour harmonic formation that we're still taking longs on. Okay, so I'll record again once we have a development on the 30-minute trade. So the trade played out. We had our buy order at 12,780. Price popped through the intra-day resistance, and price went up to just below 860. So I called Twitter to get out to take some profits out at about 855. I got out about there, 75 pips from the entry, 70% out there. Okay, so the 30% leave to run. Unfortunately, the news caused a spike that brought price down and took us out at zero for the rest of the 30%, and then shot off and touched our 361.8 and came back down. Now there was a short available at this point, but you had to be very fast to get in there. Okay, so that Euro Yen was worth 75 pips. Along on AJ this morning as well, so we had a Gartley formation and took along above the Harami 955. Now there was a sinker here, but a sinker doesn't usually hold up against a Gartley of this formation, especially as we had the other 7 pairs forming ABC reversals or Gartleys. Okay, so entry at 55, stop below at 20. First target 1 to 1 was a 61.8, and she flew all the way up without any sort of problem to the 161 for a possible 130 pips. I did scale out of this on the way, but potentially 130 if you stayed in. The CAD Yen setup this morning for the long was a lovely ABCD reversal. So we had the AB 11 bars, CD 11 bars, 41 pips and 42 pips. So that's a very strong reversal signal, that one. Okay, so we were in at 644. Stop underneath the piercing pattern, 624, so 20 pip stop. Initial target 20 pips, second target 161, and she ran all the way up to 361 on this. We did scale out on this, but a potential 130 pips on this one as well. The pound yen was probably the strongest setup this morning. We had a harmonic formation, price come down to 00, was also 854 on the bigger time frame from this D point here So we had an A54 rejection, Pearson pattern, and there we go. So wait for the pullback on this one. 110, 15110 was the entry. First target 135, so 15 pip stop on that. Second target was 161, and she run all the way up eventually to the 361 for a possible 210 pips on this one. That was a very strong setup on pound yen. So we did scale out of this on the way up, but a very strong. Okay, the New Zealand yen, my least favourite pair out of the yen pairs, but we did have a valid setup. So we had an ABCD, not as strong as the others. We had a 7 bar, 11 bar, 40 and 47, so it wasn't as strong, but still paid off. Entry was at 253, stop underneath at 220. Price did pull back, we give some wiggle room on this one. And she popped off, broke resistance and hit the 261. We did scale out of this on the way as well, but again another successful trade. Okay, moving on to the USD Yen. We had a ABCD formation that completed in the Asian session. Now I don't trade this session, so my first opportunity was a buy limit order at 720, halfway down the original signal candle. Stop under the S1 on this trade, because we have price bouncing along daily support here, but the wicks have been coming through, so we didn't want to be pipped out on this. Obviously on the rising support as well. So 720 the entry, 1 to 1 745, second target 161, third target 261. 361, and she hit the 361 to the pip almost and fell away. So potentially 110 pips in this trade. We scaled out along the way to lock in profits.